Good morning. Come inside. Come inside. Wow, you got to see the show. Hi, I'm Michael Anthony. Good morning, America. How are you? Wow, what a weekend, huh? What information. And I got to tell you, I started out really rough. I thought I was ahead. And then you get 300 pieces of mail to answer and an hour worth of little clips voice clips to listen to that don't let up. Just difficult. And then I go to sign online and it's telling me I keep putting in the wrong information. Did it 50 times. Walked away from it, angered, of course. Went back one last final try and it goes through. I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, I am Michael Anthony. This is 10 o'clock talks, and this is waking up with you. Okay? Have your coffee. Get it ready. Let's do this thing best we can. I'm going to check to make sure we're live, and then we're going to jump off here. Let's see where we are at. Where are we? Where are we? I got this other new little gadget here that I use on occasion. I don't always use it. So I don't even know if it's going to like say, hey, you're working. So let's just check to make sure we are live. I'm thinking we are. I think I see something. Every piece of equipment is different. It just is, you know. And, do my best to make things work. I hope your weekend was good, warming up in the Northeast somewhat. Had a lot of cool evenings up in the mountains this week. A lot of cool evenings. A little bit more than I wanted to basically deal with, to be quite honest with you. Hi, April. Hi, Jack. Hi, Jack. Jack, I felt like I just said you were hijacked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But everybody got their coffee? Hey, let's start waking up here. Wow. And really, again, not to repeat a repeat, what a weekend. So much information. And I want to thank all of you women warriors out there. Man, what strong voices you guys have, for real. And hello, Pittsburgh. Didn't want to leave you out of the Christians in prayers. Thank you. And I hope you didn't vote for the Biden administration. I really hope you didn't. Look what you got us. Anyway, I don't believe it got us. I believe they got us. I'll put it to you that way. But yes, you women of the 10 in America, you're just outstanding and strong. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. I really, really appreciate it. Anybody who wants to share this, please do it. We can't dump share. If we share to get out there going live, they'll kill it. So, anyway, it is what it is. I want to bring this up to you, though. It's starting now to get out and spread. And a few things are spreading, actually. One is about the blood banks and people donating blood that have had the vaccination. Scary, scary thought, because that's a pressure point to us all too. Do not forget some of these other objectives that I had explained to people about this. They're going to collect this, and if you're in need for a transfusion, you're in some type of accident, something goes wrong, you better have a family member you can rely on. Family is so important, and we are so separated in many ways right now. We truly, truly are. But I think some people are finally starting to see parts of how this is all fitting together, and it does fit together. And let's start with the November 3rd thing, but not for any particular reason that you don't already know. Like Arizona, Michigan, New Hampshire, Nevada, PA, Cali, New York. Oh yeah, why not New York? But there's a bigger thing here. If you want to look for the guilt, look for the mortality rates that had occurred, and then you'll know what states need to be checked out. You'll know what states need to stand up and start checking all these pieces of paper, these documents, Xerox possible copies, and all the other things that have happened. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, for real. Now it seems that more military heads have signed to this letter or initiated another letter up to, I guess. They have grievances about what's going on in Washington, everything going on, Biden's mental health, so forth. And, it is what it is there. We know it. And is it really mental health, or is it just a dum-dum play? Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. Because the minute something happens, the pressure's on, they're pushing him, the narrative changes. let's create some more turmoil in the world. And I want to speak on this here, and I'm going to be all over the place because as I'm writing down information, other dumps on top of it. So I might go back and reflect into something that I started, sort of may kind of not have finished it all the way. I might be adding into some things. Didn't have a lot of time to sit back and really, uh, you know, rewrite rewrite the dialogue of what I wanted to talk about this morning. So I might have some loose ends, but I think the points will get across. I also want to thank Lady Liberty. You're a rock star. I appreciate your strength. Elena, you too. I mean, you girls are out there. Even you, April. You guys spread the good word. You spread the news. You enlighten us. You give us knowledge, and I appreciate you. Beth as well. Can't forget about you. Hello, PA, Southwest Bikers, Southwest PA Bikers, and all the above. All the other bikers out there because they are mega, they are Trump. I mean, for the most part, the numbers are huge. Their numbers are huge. So yeah, with the military heads doing this, in dismay, they're I guess venting the issues. Some who may be active now, as well as retirees. Not sure of the whole details on it 100%. I'm just not sure on that, but I do know that the names are getting stronger, and the list of names signing on to addressing the White House with their issues, the names are growing. Yeah. So what do we still have? Build Back Better, American Rescue. Where is it? Where is it? Did I say hello, America? Because if I didn't, I want you to know hello. I really want to give that to you because you need a big hello, a friendly hello. You need empowerment. I'm not actually the guy that can deliver that in the best way. I just want to give some great opinions and truths and facts and see where that leads us all. Where's it put us? So yeah, this let's build back better. How? No free speech, no guns, higher food costs, gas prices. Yeah, gas and cyber attacks. Much to talk on that too. More jobs lost, pipelines shut down, and also more coming. Get that? Yeah, there's something going on there too. Whitmire's trying to shut down a pipeline. Instead of Joe doing it, the governors are now stepping up to do it and threatening their profits. And meanwhile, this pipeline does so much and supplies heating fuel and every. It's unreal what they're doing. And I hope you're seeing some of these other narratives that are now stepping forth that the White House is not handling. The governors in some certain states are. So yeah, false attacks, and why not false attacks? Guess what? And I've talked to many, not many, but quite a few over the weekend. Here's one. They franchise filling stations out and their locations. They'll build them, they'll set them up, they do all the groundwork. They charge you a franchise fee, 100,000, 150,000, whatever. It pays for your gasoline, your inventories, whatnot. They put you through a little educational program, teach you how to run a business. Boom, you're in business. So there are franchises, and then there still are independently owned oil company locations. Guess what they're doing? You may not have heard this, but it's true fact. April, you're going through this and probably don't even know it down in your area. But the truth of the matter is, most of the gas stations aren't out of fuel. They're just putting the signs up and putting the plastic bags over the nozzles. They were told not to sell fuel. Okay? Truth. Told not to sell fuel. How do I know? I got firsthand information from two separate employees in two different states that told me the same thing. It's good to know people here. It's good to share. This is what gets us more information. So not only in my mind is this false narrative out there, and they could have opened the gate valves immediately, turned on the backup system, and been pumping away, but they wanted to have some legitimately out and tell the rest to shut down for bonuses and other securities. Wow. Caught you again. And it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. So, yeah, let's shut down more. More will come. We know we're going to get hit in the face with things. Mask on, masks off. Wow. Why would that happen? Mask on, mask off. CDC changes their vocal opinion with these morons who come onto the news, the heads of these and everything else, and say, well, we are at this point. Just 3 days ago, you wanted to get the 12 to 15-year-old group in there to get them for 17 million numbers. Okay, right, sure. Masks on, masks off. How will they dictate that? Will it come down to an electronic bracelet? What will you need besides this card? This, wrinkled up thing that you're going to have to carry. I mean, really? How are people going to monitor it? People are not going to be the policing department for the United States government no matter what side they voted for. It ain't going to happen. Ain't gonna happen. I don't see it happening. I just don't see the strength there. And if I do go dead, just for any reason, just so you know now, I'll change this into an upload. But let's hope that we have some good times out here where we're good. All right, the big gas stations all have fuel, but the little guys are all out. Well, I think they planned that, April. I really do think that they planned certain narratives to it. But I do know for a fact what I was fed, what I was told, and they were asked to put up signs even though they had fuel. So there you have that part of it. These things happen. Exxon laid off 3,300 in PA and other states. My son and Law Maps Natural Gas, no jobs. And like I said, yeah, they're shutting down that pipeline. I think it's called Pipeline 5. That's the next thing. Whitmire's doing this. Whitmire. And this thing supplies heating fuel and everything else in many, many ways and facets. And there's also, and I'm not 100% on this, I'll let you know on this, but if you do look that up, you'll see that that's true. And she's attacking hard, threatening in many ways, many different things, and litigations for the company. So back to the mask off. Hey, I guess it's just that time. I don't get why. Why? It doesn't even make sense. If you're already got the thing, but we who didn't need to wear the thing, what are they afraid of? You're protected. Aren't you protected? You know you're protected. You went and got the thing. You got it. You're all right. Why does the world have to continue to wear this? We should be the ones who refused it to worry. But yet, well, maybe this will help you. Now, in the health department, many other issues are coming forth. One of them being, it seems that they have more cases of people who received it are now getting it. In the hospitals, being treated as we speak. And I didn't hear this off one narrative of a post or a clip. I've seen it 5 to 6 times by different people in healthcare networks. Also, UPMC, Pittsburgh, to bring this up out of the blue, just to anybody who cares. I am in Pittsburgh, PA, Pennsylvania. I know Beth is and some other people who jump in here. UPMC, get this. Their profits have never been higher. They laid off all these people, a total shutdown, all to address this thing. Okay, so this thing's being addressed. They're doing all these layoffs. Everything's going to be the big ER through the whole hospital. We're going to need this, that, the other, which never really happened at all. But we know where the mistakes were. Check the states responsible for what had happened November 3rd and 4th, and you will find the mortality rates within all those states of governorship. Crimes on humanity. Of course they are. Of course they are. So now, so you have all this stuff going on. But the truth of the matter is, keep in mind what I just told you is real information out there about masks on, masks offs, the CDC lies, the genders, the vax the kids. We know that, and they want to do it all the way to newborns. They really want to head in that direction. And they're going to go off the parents, feed off the parents who they could. And we know 2/3 of the United States didn't even go for this. And right now, worldwide, we're pretty close to like 3.2 million that are gone over this. And we know Fauci is responsible. We also know he married this woman who's in human research, the human research end of experimental issues. Oh, did you know that? Yeah, true story. True story. He's married to the queen of the evilness. I mean, the human experimental. Oh, geez. Sort of fits the narrative even more, right? And we know all this is true stuff. We know it's all true. We know how the money changed hands. We know how the placement changed hands from South Carolina between him and Fauci and his constituents, and what caused all this, and how they switched it over to Wuhan and then switched funds. He was actually being pressured pretty hard by Rand Paul on this. We know that it's happened. He knows it, and he knows we're coming for his ass, and that's the bottom line. We are coming for him. Eventually, we're going to get him in a corner. We're going to get him. Same with Gates. And that's like this big divorce thing. Do you think it's really a big divorce thing? Or the fact that when you get divorced, You can liquidate stocks between a marriage and don't have to address the stockholders. Ah, key point there, possibly. Look it up. Look up some of the rules on boards and corporates and stuff like that. And maybe you'll just sit back and think, maybe this is all just a farce. This is not about his cheating ways, although he's cheated America in many ways. But this isn't about him or his wife. This is about securing the billions, the money, the mega, the structure of the strength of one of the richest men in America. And that is the truth. It is all a narrative how to keep in the height with the rest, the elites, the 1%, and keeping and gaining strength, but protecting themselves while they do it. Yeah, divorce may be on paper, maybe on paper. Yeah, but that's as far as I'll go with that. Excuse me. So military changes. HST still in the fight. There's still areas being fought. Israel, Hamas. I mean, hey, look, this is terrible stuff. This is terrible stuff. But it is what it is. And Israel's doing the best to defend themselves. And I'm for Israel. I'm sorry. I'm with where Mr. President laid the cards out, laid the foundation for these countries over there. It set everything in motion and in place. And, it's just part of another narrative. Soon it will be all the oil tanks out there and the refineries, and it'll grow to a different aspect to kill even more for what's to come in the fall, as they want to come in the fall. And I'm sure more's going to come. So you have the HST, Israel, Hamas, the Vatican, Dominion. Who was feeding Dominion money? Yeah. Donations to the Vatican to disperse monies to Dominion. Interesting. And another true fact, it really is. Money's paid for some of the biggest negativities in the world. This is one of them to me on the HST and more on the aborts. Paying money for experimental parts. Okay? Yeah. Yep. So they may live longer in different ways with human biological deplorable acts of experiments. And that's basically what it's all for. Human harvesting and more. It's just crazy. And, I said it, and that's where it is. All right, so I'm going to start jumping around, and I want to wish Wendy a happy return. I hear Wendy's coming back to PA. She's supposed to be online today at some point. So I was trying to isolate a better time to join with people, say hello, and bring that coffee hot. Let me see here what we got here, if I got anything at all. Yeah, a few comments. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Connecticut is in the house. Waking up with Michael and you. Thank you so much for that. Wow. And it doesn't end. It doesn't end. All weekend. All weekend. But we got rock stars out in our world here. We really do. And women, oh my God, you guys are strong. You really are. The things that you find and you come up with and share, just impressive. Very, very impressive. So remember, we're going to see more blackouts and blockouts. And just like the fuel, being told, some of these filling stations were told, don't pump gas. Do not pump gas. So when your boss tells you to turn off the pumps, you turn off the pumps. And I guess that's how it fits their narrative. But yeah, so I tried to do the best I could over the weekend between everything else going on and the late night Friday and so forth. At least that went over pretty well. They didn't kill me, but we kind of figured out the trigger component for that. So, it is what it is, and we're going to just keep going forth. Again, if something goes really negatively bad, please check out YouTube channel 10 O'Clock Talks. And I hope everybody had a good weekend. I hope you're going to have a good week to come. I know in the Northeast, weather's going to change. People are going to be out. The world seems to be opening some with much question, with still much question. I believe insides are now increased to 50% capacities, at least here in Pittsburgh. I don't know what your state's doing, but that's Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania. 75% on the outside. Okay, but still, you have to wear a mask to get to the table. There's so many things. It's just crazy weird. But once you're at the table, you're fine. If you got to use the restroom, you might want to put it on. And it's really up to the business who will now enforce their rules. I want to see how that's going to go. I really want to see how that's supposed to work out for everybody. But, big bonuses for, the people who push the narrative for them. They're being promised big, 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 big bonuses. Yeah, and that's what you have. So we know that there are some things, and UFOs could be real, correct? All right, well, I don't know. Let's see what happens by the 1st of July. That should tell us some answers, but we already know. The government's already leaked all this. We know what's going on. We know, and we do. But anyway, so let's see what comes out, though, and let's see how they can convince us of everything of their narrative and why now, suddenly, they're just going to make it public. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. All right, let me see where I got here, man. Let's rock and roll this morning hour that we got together. Okay. So I guess I was writing down some things here, and I'm just trying to reflect into them as to what I have, as far as a lot of things and where we are with things today. A lot that I've already just spit out. But and if anybody has anything else here, and yeah, there is one other thing. Oh, I don't know. I think this thing backs up as I take it down. I don't know. Okay, maybe not. Well, we got a few viewers, and that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate you guys, no matter how that works out for us. All right, let me see here. All right, so one of the big things here that's truly to me seems to be a false narrative, unless they're intermixing these vaccines. By the way, does anybody know what's the 10th letter? 10th. Now, 10 is very important to me here, and you know that. It stands for a lot, but it's also stands for much more than what anybody's put together yet. Nobody's come to me, so I'm going to feed you a little something. Somebody asked me why I had two clocks on one of the posts, 1010. Okay. Well, and why maybe President Trump was so disappointed with the J&J factor when that kind of fell off. He really got disappointed about that. And there's a lot of question to that. Well, what's the 10th letter in the alphabet? Times two. I'm waiting. Come on, count. Use A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Oh, J, J. Get it? I've been trying to give you hints of who. Okay, maybe sometime soon you're going to find out why Donald Trump supports so hard the J&J vaccination. I'll give you more on that. But 10 stands for a lot, and I have more explanations to it. It's been the whole key of everything I've explained to people for the past 4 to 5 months. And they've all come pretty darn true and very, very close. I'm not off by much on much, but I will tell you this. Nobody has yet awakened to what the 10 is truly for. But that's okay. We're going to get to that more. We will get to that. Can't do it today, but we will get to that more. But I just want you to count on your fingers what it takes to. Just like the 17th letter. And I've given hints out to that. And I try to hope that people can fill in their blanks with that. But that might help you. And really check into who President Trump does support and how upset he was about that little displacement where they stopped it. So keep that in mind, and I'll get you somewhere where you're probably not ever going to expect to go. Okay? Probably never going to expect to go there. So this jab and the magnet thing, nah, I don't know. Unless they have, some mysterious intermixed little bottles somewhere that some people get. I've seen people in pretty much all walks of life that received indifferences of them, and none of this fact seems to be true. I'm not going to debate anybody on this. I'm only going to tell you what I've learned. I watched it, I saw it, I started asking questions, I jumped to other rooms, and people were like, no, we tried it, we saw it, it doesn't do nothing. So I think it's a narrative that's false. That's my opinion. And you can have your own, but I'm only sharing my opinion here. That I don't believe it's true in any way. I don't think a magnet's going to stick. I don't know if they're using Vaseline. I don't know if it's the position or how they're standing. I don't know if they lick it, wet it, and stick it. It doesn't matter. The thing about it is it doesn't seem to be true, okay? And that I just wanted to get out there to people and stop the narrative of such bullshit, because that's basically what it is. Even though there are things in these, there are things in there that are bad. I don't disagree with any of that. I don't think a magnetic test is going to help you. More than likely, and if it's sticking on anybody's arm, they had rotacuff surgery and they got some clamps in there, because I know I have it. I got a big hole in my arm here. It was unrepairable. They tried to use clamps. They couldn't work. They couldn't rejoin the muscles up. So my arm only goes up as far as, Anyway, so yeah, if I put a magnet on my arm, it would work too. So yeah, I think it's debunked. I think it's bullshit. And I think everybody needs to move on from that and say, this is nothing. This is nothing. All right, getting back to some other things here. You always remember, Lysol kills COVID. I'm not telling you in any way, ingest this. No. Keep your home clean. Keep your home clean. Be safe, eat healthy. Those are the key elements. But Lysol does claim that it works. 100%. 100%. So anyway, yeah, just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, people in MRIs who have received this, there may be some truth to this, that they were finding out the people that have received this in ways, basically in an MRI machine, they were having issues in this area of burns showing up. So there could be these small, very, very small fragments of whatever they're using, nanoparticles, etc. Very, very fine microscopic metals of some sort that help create metals, uh, in your body and accumulate them. Well, they were getting burn reactions here where they got the shot. So keep that in mind. There might be some truth to that, and we know that there were other truths to people that were going to go for mammograms. There was a lot of and so forth. There were a lot of questions in that in the beginning. Months ago, I talked about that. That seemed to be very real, and doctors wanted you spaced apart well enough before or after, to be able to still have your test done. So, the ladies know about that, know about it. I know you guys do. So protect yourself, protect your children, and say no to drugs, especially their drugs, okay? And that's as far as I can go with that part. But again, I could go into anywhere with this, and I will go here. All the preliminary testings of all these things that were happening that we know about in these labs, on the mixtures and so forth. And I'm going to be putting up a video today. It's going to show a lot of great information. We know that the animals were all dying in the testings of it, except for J and J, 10 and 10. Truth. Okay, so I fed you a little bit more there. Um, just saying. I'm just saying there's something bigger there, and everybody should wake up to that. Key factor, right behind me. Key factor. So, but testings of animals, they had no promise to them. The weirdest part about all this is, in the years that we have seen issues like this happen, we have made all stops, called for all stops on anything once we hit like the number 15. We're near 4,000 people in America lost, and they're still saying, push it, push it, push it, but now you can live. A little bit, but not quite, but a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, just confusion, narrative, etc. But if you do your homework, and I plan on releasing something that's really so interesting, and I'm not the one that reported on it. I had made mention to it before they did, in many ways. I didn't have the total information that these guys had, but Tucker did some really good informative information. After a lot of things mentioned by some other people, I think I was one, and as well as a couple other deep voices. If that gives you a hint, I don't want to mention his name because he's not liked very well on F&B. So with that said, I think you'll enjoy it. I'll put that up shortly. I really will, and it's really good. It takes a little time to get through it, but it's very educational. It will give you a lot of great information, and I think you will be able to finally see light. And maybe you can share this to the people out there who need to understand where we are with this whole miracle cure that doesn't exist in many ways. It just doesn't do it. It's just total experimental stuff, and that's just how it is. All right, so has anyone ever really met a slave in your lifetime? I mean, we talk about all this racism stuff, but who out there has really been, do you know any? I mean, years back, we all were. It wasn't a matter of color. It existed everywhere by the power and the elites, the control mechanisms, the kings. You saw it in movies. You saw how it went. You know, the peasants, the kings, what was important, collecting tax money, no different than now. It's been the whole narrative of the world since the beginning of times. It really just has been that way. There's always been a power struggle, someone that had to have you by the balls, and that's how it works. That's how the whole ethic of the world works, and now in a much greater way, in a much worse way as well. But I've never met one. Well, maybe I have, actually. I kind of felt like we are all slaves right now. Maybe we should look at each other and really look at the fact. We could be the slaves right now in a modern day of 2021. Us. When you have what you have in front of you, like we have it right now, we are in slavery. We're being controlled, dictated to, told how to live, told to wear the mask, told to close the church. What is that? What does that consist of? Is it the same element? Isn't the definition of slavery is it similar? It seems to me it's the same. Society being pushed by communists, dictatorship, the elites. Doesn't it all blend the same way? Is it not true to fact that you will work for them so they can collect your tax dollar? Another part of equal equality for all or equal slavery to all? Will it matter about black, white, brown, yellow, red, Hispanic? It doesn't matter. It will affect all. The world as we know it, if it continues this way, if we don't stand and give the best fight of our lives that we can, you will continue to live, and much worse, in this slavery. So we have to stay strong, because the truth is, we did nothing wrong being born of any color that any of us are. If anybody has an issue with it, that's within themselves, and they need to work that fact out. We, as people, had nothing to do with it. It's nothing I promote. It's nothing I want to promote. I don't think it's anything anyone wants to promote. But the fact remains the same. It just is. It's a controlled, dictated force. It's an abuse of power. It's an abuse of our freedoms. Look around. It's a global stairway to everything going on that exists now and here in time, America, global wide, and more. And we need to just stand up, fight, and continue to fight this way. So the UIH, Bioethic Labs. Yes, Mrs. Fauci. Wow, experimental issues. I told you I'd be jumping in and out of things. Yeah, so that's his wife, and that's who she is. I want you to look up that deck of cards. Yeah, wow, isn't it? It's really crazy, but it's all tying together. It's all tying together, and I see a shitload to fall. I really, really do. But yeah, that's his wife. They're married. The head of Human Experimental Laboratories. Human experimental. Interesting. When you think about everything that we've learned and where we are. Bitcoin, like I told you, it would fall. It did. It fell. It fell to shit. It's not worth. It's going to be worthless, basically. But better things are coming in different ways, and it's going to be a long battle too. And the cure is going to be a long battle. Even if we are to prove everything that we have and debunked it fully with proof, if these deletions are even true on the November 3rd and 4th, because it is under a non-disclosure, and I've given the names of who is running this. I know other things are leaking out. Could they be true? Possibly. Maybe something happened. Maybe something we haven't been fed the whole way has come out. But deleted 10 days prior to? Well, that would just be abominable. That would be like them saying we admit our guilt and we're going to do worse to hide our guilt. And they would just lose all credibility in any courtroom. Any courtroom, because we do have the supports of courtrooms right now in many states joining in on this huge, huge what happened November 3rd and 4th. Okay? And that would only be to our side as a positive. Now, if that was the case, these same jurisdictions of courts within the states, the powers of the state judges, would then be able to overturn. They would. It's facts. They have the power to overturn it. And it would be up to the courts then to do such a thing. Now, if this measure did really happen and take effect, it would open up a whole can of worms in a much bigger way. I don't know if the ones pushing this narrative on us of all this that we see in front of us coming from the left side, are that stupid. But maybe they are. Maybe Dominion's that scared. Maybe it did happen. Maybe it didn't. It'd be your choice to actually, and knowledge is everything, stick to facts. I did promote a couple video clips. It showed a lot. It told the truth. It told where we were at and how the process and steps were to go. But I do get this, even in PA here, and that's why I won't even vote for a local sheriff in my local office here. You know, the sheriffs were interrupting everything about the election. The integrity of the elections, the days that it was happening, November 3rd and 4th. They were telling the right side people, the people there with the watchful eyes, that they could not step over a line to actually enforce the legal court document. And the sheriff themselves said, you can take that document and stick it where the sun don't shine. And that was a little bit part of why I put the coffee cup up with the sunshine, because that is the truth. A lot of people say, I support the sheriff. Well, I like the song better, I Shot the Sheriff. And I'll just leave it at that, because it happened, and we have proof that it happened. I cannot support the sheriff's office. No. If one does it, that makes a lot of you very bad, because it just didn't happen in one place. It did not happen in one place. Again, that's what knowledge is, and expose gets done for the American people in the fight we're against. Digital bracelets. Father and son came up with this great idea, and now the people in restaurants are wearing them. But guess what? They were out there for quite a while. This just didn't happen overnight. There's been several companies involved in this, and we know that there are, without a doubt, in some locations just here in Pennsylvania and out of Pennsylvania, just boxes of these bracelets just waiting for you, just waiting to get slapped on your wrist. And they will be non-removables, by the way, just so you know. So they're a digital bracelet. It will do a lot of things. It'll be like a tracking device. So anybody that thinks about that magnet thing and, oh my God, I've been chipped. Well, they're a little bit bigger than will come out of the tip of a needle. I'm sorry. It just, a fact is a fact. Nothing that small has been created. Okay? And that is the truth of the matter. Are they downsizing? Oh yeah, my God, yeah. Look where we came from. Used to have a whole wall to run a little screen on a computer to make it work, and now you can just do it by opening up your phone, and it's got more guts than some of these old computers ever had you had sitting on your desk, these old PCs. So yeah, have we came a long way? Boy, haven't we come a long way in the last 100 years? That's so questionable just in itself. So if you take the past 50 years and do that, we quadrupled, intelligence of technologies. We really have. So there you have some of those stories. But yeah, the bracelet. Because right now, taking off the mask, it's not going to work. And the narrative then will be you're going to have this bracelet saying you either did it or you didn't. And that then people will know. And then everybody can judge each other. Okay? More narrative. Because, if you see someone with pink and you got on black meaning you didn't have it. I'm just saying, I don't know if this will be fact, but they have on pink and they got it. You're going to think, well, there's one of those ones that got it. And they're going to think, well, he's one of those ones that didn't get it. Narrative, pushback, separation. And that's where it'll head to. It will head to that, as well as probably booster shots, if anybody they can convince to keep making money in pharma for the big leagues. We need these big wigs to get their money. And if you think about the past 16 months of what we've gone through, money has been so immense feeding the pockets of all these big corporate conglomerates. They're just huge. They've never even made so much money before. And anytime they feel it's falling off, a narrative helps change it, like the fuel issue that just happened. Force people's back into the store, and all the pressure shopping started all over again. So, yeah, they need these pushes. They want these pushes because they want to isolate everything. They know you won't go to the smalls, you'll go to the large stores because they are the ones being helped the most to get the products, to sell the products, and for you to receive the products. And that is the true nature of the game of how it's being led. It's all about who you know, politics for sure, without a doubt. All right. So I guess I caught you up on some of those things and whatnot of what I came out with, what I could find, and I guess I have a few people still online here. And if I don't, we'll get this out to everybody out there. Keep the pressure, keep the fight, because that's all we have. Now, I wanted to tell everybody a little bit more about Odin. I mean, I've mentioned Odin before, and this is like a really good tool that the government has. And it has a lot of power, it can do a lot of things, and I think you're going to be hearing more about this. It's going to in sync with the satellites. It's going to be kind of like the light of the darkness. And I'll say it to you this way: without darkness, light would have no meaning. Excuse me. Correct? Imagine that if it never got light out, it would have no meaning. So just keep that in mind. But these are issues and tools that are helping us behind the lines right now. You're not hearing about. And Odin stands out the strongest from them all, besides what we know of the rod of God. And I think that should be a indicator of where I'm going with things, because I'm just trying to watch my words. But I know right now we must be good the way we're doing it, how we figured out the trigger points that gets me bumped. And Beth, we know what to do, don't we, girl? We know what to do. So you have the Dems and you have the Republican Party. You got the Dems over here, Republicans over there, the left and right. And you have to ask yourself about all this stuff that's going on, and why and where we're headed. And does Tesla mean anything to all this? Or Project Paperclip, the early issues of scientific exploitations of the Germans and bringing them in on a hush hush note, and more than that even. So you have Tesla, and is this the real World War III possibly? I don't know. You got the stock market that's very unstable. You got Bitcoin crashing. We're having energy issues, and not by blackouts. Not by blackouts. We're having other energy issues in many ways, but that's narrative and that's push. And you have the possibility now of the GOP inserting, and I mentioned this before, of a third party. I don't know if that would ever happen, but could we enter into a new dialogue of election where you have the Republicans, the Democrats, and the third party? So there could be something of that forming. It just may be forming. If it was to form, the numbers would be greater to the good. So I think it's a nice avenue to look into. Say you have 50 Democrats, 40 of them are really strong. You have the left, they're strong with their 50. Then you have the third party comes along. And they have a 40-10 ratio, 40 to the good. That gives us what? Success. I think it's really being looked into. It really is, because that takes your pressure of the vote in Congress to 90, and it would supersede by far the 50 from the left. They would join the right, even though they're a third party. Interesting analogy, though. But keep that in mind. I think we're headed to that direction. I think we really are. There's some secretive things about that being said. I know Trump at one point said, no, that's not going to happen. We don't need another one. But guess what? Don't count it out. Don't count it out. There has to be a big plan to keep control once we regain it. And that's just the way it is. So, and that's where quantum comes in, and the overturning and the positivity, and the true rescue will stand up for America, the independence of America. It will say a lot. It truly will. And let's not forget, when you have the owned Vatican supporting and making payments to dishonest electoral technology people, anything's possible. So the fight is really big and the issues are much larger, and a third party would just be wonderful. It really would. Have to be done right. Have to be done right. But it could happen. I really believe it could happen. I see it in the future, is what I guess I should just say to you. I see that in the future. So protests for peace and efforts won't really change the mission of the dart. The difference against the light is always going to be different. But the show must go on. We got to change. We got to change our narrative to a bigger eye of what we can do back on them. And it still continues with your grassroots. We can't fail with this. We need all of our failures to go away. And we need to isolate what is really working for the cure, to restore everything. Because we are up against, a diabolical bloodline of rich. And I know in the back of my mind, and I keep thinking, I know stuff's happening out there, and I know you guys believe it. You're seeing a lot of things. How much of the narrative of what we're being fed, I don't know. Some of it sounds really official. Some of it sounds really official. Some of it makes a lot of sense. But we haven't seen it yet. And I know that people are getting tired and, just keep the coffee coming and stay strong to it. Do the best you can. Stay vigilant. Stay knowledgeable. Something else that's pretty, not unusual, but true. Pharma now is paying for fact checking for Facebook, believe it or not. They jumped on to support and give money for the fact checking. But they're doing it under how they can stop and critique the lies of the cure and the true narrative of where things are. So when you put up something that is by, that has to do with C-19 and whatnot, and SARS or anything else for that matter, those are the key elements of what they're looking for. Telling you you're leaving out misinformation and so forth. These are the ones, when it comes to all of this narrative right now and where we are and the force of where we are, and then all of a sudden you're free the next day not to wear a mask of where we are. This is who's paying for it. Big Pharma. They come out and outright said it. I'm not wrong. Check it out. You'll see. I'm a little disappointed about this. And this is a very disappointing scenario here. We've always had wars in our countries, okay? And many countries, even in America. And not with the best agendas of truth to the American people who believed in their government and their leadership and would die for them, and they did. And for what reasons? Well, we know the reasons. They have a pocket to fill. They have an agenda. War creates money, stimulates the economy in different ways and so forth, and they fill their pockets from it because they invest into all the things that will do that for them. And they already know before it ever starts where to put their money and how to control it and what the outcome will be for them, what the benefits are going to be. They don't do things not for benefits. They do things for the benefits of it. And that's sad, but that's really where we are. That so many died for probably useless causes. Non-factual facts of truth, but lied dictations given with a narrative to make the people believe that they had to do this for their country. And I don't see any, and I'm not saying that, it wasn't, in fact, in some places, and somewhere in the world, that there weren't legitimate issues that something started and happened. But the false narrative, just like Israel and Hamas and what's going on there, and you have the Russians over there with the Ukrainians and all these different things, and China wants Taiwan. But I don't see anybody pushing for it. Not really hard, but Israel right now is in the spotlight of it all. They're the bad guys, mind you, for protecting themselves. But you give Hamas a minute, they'll take your head off. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, because our own governments before this pretty much how fun to get them were in the position that they're in to fight against everybody, and including us, in a heartbeat if they had the chance to. But I guess where I really want to go to this is something that's really bothering me that Joe did. And he enforced some things about a monument up in the National Garden. And that just like tore my heart that this guy, is such a moron. And we call him Moron Joe. We call him a lot of things. But the truth is, it is what it is. He does not want these plaques put on with the history of America. There should be no history of America in the National Garden. He doesn't want Lincoln's name side by side with Martin Luther King, or whatever his narrative is, to just stopping it all with an executive order to do so. So the good of what Donald Trump and his executive order to go through with this and to do this and show history as history was, and mentioned, I believe, 200 names, very important names, as well as important heroes of the war, are just squashed. And this is okay. This is okay. And this could be why more people all of a sudden signed on to that letter, that signed on, or in addition added to the letter that was sent up there to Washington, D.C. But I don't see this man to care, because he's listening to who he believes he needs to listen to and says what he needs to say, because that's just how the orders work. And that's where we're at with that. But what a sad thing. What a sad thing not to be able to recognize our own history of America and for that to be stopped. And it really makes you wonder, and I've always said this, it doesn't matter who you voted for, you can correct that now. Not that maybe your eyes are opening. But if it doesn't matter and you're still on the other side, you need to stay there. Because you're not one of us, we don't need you to be one of us. If you haven't woken by this point, you probably never will with what's out there in front of everybody. So that's sad for me to hear that is. And it should be for you too. It really should be. But let's remember, Fauci is under fire. And, Rand Paul had a real turn of events with him and basically put him in his place. And you could hear it just in the testimony coming out of Fauci's mouth on where that was and so forth. Now, as far as the turning over the machines and that there, and the process of the election and so forth, as I said a little earlier in the earlier part of this, before everybody joined in, I'll just reflect to that for a minute because I really think it's important. You're going to find all this disruption, wherever you find it, is going to be in the states with the most deaths and mortalities from all of this narrative that they pushed on the nursing homes and the medical centers, and where they jammed all these people in sick, which caused all the real issues of what we have seen. And it really does make you wonder how back in the day, 15 people's deaths were enough to stop anything. And now we're nearing fourth. It's just crazy, isn't it? Just crazy. Worldwide, we're 3.2 million people global. And I think here in America, we're at 4,000. And they're not even giving you the true numbers on the affected from the thing, the cure. The miracle cure, the one that doesn't really exist, the experimental cure. You get that. Yeah, so anyway, and if I also said this, if you're just catching this, just to let you know, I am Michael Anthony. This is 10 O'Clock Talks. This is part of the Waking Up with You in America, and I'm glad to always have you guys in. Thank you for coming in. If you miss us here, you can check us on YouTube or refer back to my page. I always have some information there, and I got a lot of information. It was all over the place this weekend, really was. I mean, theories about UFOs and I want to say it this way. I stick to the date, November 3rd, November 4th thing. Just trying to speak clean the best way I can here. Because these people are bastards, man. They'll do anything to stop all of us. They really will. They don't want us to have our voice. They don't want us to have our voice. They don't want us to use our minds. But, these deleted things, again, I'm not sure if we can believe that. And I'm just going to leave that part at that part. Because it is under a no disclosure. I don't see how that changed in any way, shape, or form. I would think that, I think his name was Ken, the guy in charge. He was a former, I think, senator down there in Arizona. And I think it's kind of a false narrative coming out of there. I mean, if it's true, that would be great, too. Because it puts them in a really hot seat. It really does. So yeah, on that part, I got that one redone for you guys. I just wanted to like do a quick review of a few minutes there, and I did it. Now, a lot's still being said about what's being dropped and what has really occurred under the two mouths of the Capitol and the White House and the Pentagon and so forth, of what was found there, and the labs. Now it's coming out that there were laboratories in there, and they were working blood work and so forth done in these labs with a lot more than just that. Supposedly, I understand that they did filming of everything before they destroyed it, as well as altars and so forth, which were filmed and pictures were taken. I'm not going to say where or how I know that, but I will say that it will become public. It will become public. And that's a good thing because people need their eyes opened even more. Like I said, the ones that haven't opened their eyes by now, it doesn't even matter at this point, I don't think, because they're just not going to change. They're one of them. They're for whatever they're seeing. It doesn't matter to them, or they're just plain stupid. And I say, don't listen to stupid. Stupid is just stupid. Don't listen to stupid. And that's all there is to it. All right, GOP to send a little bit more information on what has gone on in the Capitol, I guess, in their opinions. We should be hearing some statements coming forth on that. And I think that they were referring to the, so called insurrection. So let's see where that goes. Let's wait to see what really gets mentioned and how much they're willing to expose and examinations, cross examinations, and things. Because, every time somebody leaves Don Trump land, they come back out with a set of balls. It's like, hey, what's going on? And the fire starts to go under people's asses, and that's the way they should act. They should always act like that. It's a shame we got to where we are for people to wake up and, our representatives, our leaders. But, more signing on, claiming strength with the Republican Party, and I guess they would, the negative ones, after what they did with Cheney. And I think they need to put Romney in that same seat and then go after Kerry for what he did, as well as Pelosi, Schumer, Schiff, and the rest of those gang. But again, you can only do one thing at a time. One thing at a time is all we have the capability of being able to do on the floor. And that's just how that works. It's damaging. The more we wait, it's always damaging, and it doesn't put us in much better of a place because people are fed up with it. And even I am. But you do get fed up. You know, you do. How can you not in this whole narrative of what we're living? And I say that repeatedly. I say that repeatedly. Now, I also wanted to talk a little bit more on that pipeline thing. And that Whitmire, she just sucks. I mean, think about this 33,000 jobs, and they're calling it Pipeline 5. It feeds a lot of industrial plants and things that need this. And, to shut it down, 33,000 more jobs. I mean, where are we at this time and place and this government and this rescue? We're nowhere. We're nowhere. We are in the worst 5 months of American history, and that is the truth. And we have to stay awake to that. So let me see. I think I had another part to that, but I also think I have another part which was referred to by Mr. Gates as part two fall. He mentioned something about part two, and he mentioned something about fall. So I guess there's a big event planned for the fall. May have to do with something of the narrative right now that they're pushing of India, Britain, and Australia of major breakouts occurring. A little bit more dangerous of a variant than what we already know things are to be. Now, do I believe it wholeheartedly? No, not really. But they are pushing that narrative. I know we have a friend who checks in. He's probably online with me right now, and Jack would probably be able to share much information on that, being that he is down in the dry lands, as I call them. And he does talk a lot about it, and the fact that what they want to give you is basically a poison and so forth, and I agree totally with him. I can't wait to upload this when I'm done, this segment of what I have. It's probably about 30 minutes long, but I want you to watch it because it's true facts. It's where we're at, where we're going, how things will take place, how the military tribunal units will probably get involved, are involved already, but you would understand it more, as well as how, some of the famous trials in Nuremberg were. and how that may also be part of the resistance of the courts and the hearings with the military tribunal. And I'm sure that will play a party to it. I'm sure it will. But remember, if you connect the dots and you see where the issues are and all the November 3rd and 4th, it's going to connect the dots to all the places of the most mishandled governorships in America and these states as well, with the mortality rates of their narrative push of how to basically not really do such a great job in any way to protect our older citizens who have, lost their lives over all this stuff. So yeah, build back a better rescue plan. I don't see it. Higher costs, food costs, gas prices, false cyber attacks, the lumber costs, shutdowns, more shutdowns coming. No one wants to work. Lies, masks on, lies off. CDC's, I'm sorry, masks on, masks off. CDC guidelines, genders, vax to the kids, unemployment. People still not even getting their money yet. Unbelievable. Never got anything from the beginning of this, the ones who deserved it. Failures. The new PRO Act, which could affect 57 million people's walks of life and work ethic who are self employed. You know, the drywallers, the framers who come out, the people who bid on jobs to get things done in large ways and small ways. The PRO Act that Joe so strongly wants to push into effect. The military changes and everything more. It's just a sad narrative of where we are in America. Again, I want to thank all the women. You guys, you're true warriors and heroes to America. You guys feed me so much information and help us and put the narrative out there, what's really going on. Big Pharma, let me get to Luna here. Lucy, hi baby, how are you? All right, Big Pharma can go eat dirt. Well, of course they can. They claim they do, and you know that. And I'm with you. I'm totally with you, 100%. And remember, right now, these pharma people and companies are actually devising ways right now to start protecting themselves. But I tell you what, if you wanted to take all this off the shelf, get rid of this Protection Act that protects them of these little vials. And if you get rid of that Protection Act and you open up a market of litigation for anybody who is harmed by it, watch how fast it goes away. Watch how fast it goes away. They push hard on narratives when they have no responsibility to the public and they don't care about you or I. Because they're just a bunch of, you know what that four-letter word is with the S on the end. And that's what they are. That's what they are. This is about them. It's not for us in any way. It's only what they can tell you it's about, which is false narratives. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. I wish I had more to talk about to you guys that meant anything outside of the 10 factor, the double 10. Figure out the alphabet. Look into what Trump says. Please listen to the man. And maybe you'll start to get a gist of how many factors that number us here at the 10 took into accountability before this ever happened because of things we may have known a little bit about. But you have to be involved in government and in ways in order to know where you see things coming from. I have a sister who won't even talk to me. And when I told her that all this happened, which you're going to be seeing shortly, even more proof if that's true, and I mean great proof, not just proof, not just, these are well-knowns giving, getting, and delivering to you what you need to hear. And I'm going to upload it real shortly, as soon as I get off here. But yeah, so that's where we're at. I also do want to mention Wendy Bell. I don't want to forget this. I don't want to get off that part of the narrative. It's important. She's been a voice who's been suppressed several times, and she pushes the narrative to us, a positive, very, very positive narrative. We're all going to be struck. We're all going to be pushed back. We're all going to be jailed in Facebook and everything else. And that's just how it works. It doesn't matter how many names you have. They know they know the computer's IP. They're going to get it. They're going to block you again. They'll figure out who you are. It won't be that difficult. But she is a voice for everybody in America. She's had great guests on her show. And now she's going to be coming, I believe, live out of her home, doing another type of setup. I think it was all in the works over the weekend. She gave a little narrative and push and sent out some support to everybody. So she'll be coming live on Facebook shortly. This is a little preempt to probably a lot of things that are going to come from her mouth and give her opinions of things, but she's a strong woman with a strong voice. And if you guys can catch her, please join in with Wendy. She's a rock star. She really is, you know. And it's hard to get a platform like hers with the hundreds of thousands of people that support her behind her. But you know what that's like. We got big names out there. I just wish they would stick to the cures more than the narratives of where we are. And if I had more to tell you on the cures, I would myself. But I think I shared everyone I could come out with at this point, or have any comprehension of how to giving a fact that doesn't blow up in the American people's face, because what you say is true, you know, and everybody is just angry. And the best thing to do is give safe delivery of facts versus, you know, a narrative of a hypothetical thought. Because, you know, to give fact versus something that's totally hypothetical, there's no common sense to that. You don't do it. You just don't do it. So expect more blackouts and blockouts, of course. And I'll be saying this every day probably to everybody. And I want to go back again to that one comparison. Through 1997 to 2013, that period of 15 years, we only had 53 deaths in total through what we know are true VAX. Okay, the things, all right. And once they got to that highest point of 15, everything was called to a stop. An investigation had to be done. It's just utterly amazing that they do not have to do that and follow those same guidelines. And the narrative continues. Check into Fauci's wife, who she is and what she's involved in. She's dirt. Like, that's all I can tell you. She's dirt. He's dirt. They did this all. Obama did this all. They were all parts of it. All they did was railroaded money from one hand to another to give it back to Wuhan to continue in their experimental issue of putting 5 components together. 5 components to figure out exactly what they did. It's all self-explanatory, too. You're going to really be interested to check this out today. You will. So I want to wish everybody a good day. You know, I hope you get to enjoy the sunshine. Your family, you know, get outside, go to work, whatever. And that's what I'm going to do as soon as I'm done here. I'm going to work. And I'll be there for 6 to 8 hours. It depends. I'm in the retirement stage, so I sometimes don't work the whole day. But I do appreciate everybody sharing. And if you can, when I get offline, share the hell out of this, you know? Really, share the hell out of it. Get out to everybody what you can do and who you can do it for. Make a difference in the world and support your friends, each other, your family, regardless of the issue. Someday maybe you'll be able to get your family in order if they're not on the same order of mentality where you are with your knowledge now. Because, I mean, we are undertaking a destruction of the Biden administration and Harris. Biden, Harris, you know who they are. But it's the truth. We really are. He just wants to destroy America in his best abilities. And you got to hold him at fault because he is the voice. No matter who else is behind it, he's the one with the mouth open. And that's the one we need to address. That's the one we need to go after. And, you know, we got to do the best we can. But I think you're going to see a lot of changes come. I have no dates or times. The only thing I can promise to you is I'm going to stay in the fight for you, and I know you're going to stay in the fight for each other in America, and that's what's important. So I hope you like the segment, and I'll look for more interesting things to do. Please watch the video I'm going to put up in a few minutes, and I promise you I will. And you're going to really get a lot out of this. It's going to take you and pinpoint how and what mechanisms and who the people are that actually helped do all this. And it will say a lot to America. It really will. All right, I see this thing moving here. On that last comment, I deleted it because I meant support your local businesses. Of course, you know, well, money, paper, I don't know what's good anymore because to me, all they're doing, when you have money in your hand at in these days and this time, right now, Nancy, just my opinion. Whatever they tell you, it's just counterfeit. You know, it's not even real money. None of the money that even has been fed into the whole system in America and given away, which you had no choice over, right? They were just allowed to do it. All they were doing was creating a lie and typing in a number. It's not even a real fact. There's nothing to support the number. There was nothing even to back the dollar to make it worthwhile. what you have in your piggy bank at any time could go bad. I mean, if you got a couple $1,000 stashed for your vacation, you better think about using it because you never know the turn of events in America as we see it. We know that there are white hats out there. We know that there are countries who are trying to protect all of this from not happening. Wendy Bell is live now. So Wendy's just uploaded that she's going live. And with that, I want to give her the respect I can. I want you to enjoy the show if you can check her out. In the meantime, the only thing I want to give you guys on this final note is a big ass thank you. Love you to death, guys. Always. Don't judge me. I won't judge you. Check out the Wendy Bell Show. See what she got cooking. She always has something going on. And maybe she can enlighten you on some things I haven't gotten to today, and that would be great. In the meantime, check for the upload, and I'll see you back here in the morning. So you guys take care, and remember, I truly do the best I can for you all the time. Like and share, follow, subscribe on YouTube. If I ever go dead, check for YouTube. All right, talk to you later. Have a good one.